Welcome, Allison James Estates and Homes. Thank you for attending today's RPR webinar. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Sheena Massey, the Agent Relations Specialist with Allison James. She has a brief piece of information for you, and then we're going to jump into today's presentation. Sheena?
Thank you, Stephanie, and hi everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today, using RPR to ensure a successful buyer's tour. So I just want to say quickly, Allison James Estates and Homes is a nationwide brokerage. We do offer 100% commission and 100% support. Why split your commission if you don't need to, right? You earned it all, so shouldn't you keep it all? Our goal at Allison James is to always give back to our agents by providing education, training sessions, live webinars, live events, and full broker support with the most up-to-date tools and technology available. We are always looking for new tools and ways to be able to provide them to our agents at a lower or discounted price. This is so you can keep your hard-earned money for the important things in life and the people you love. We do have plans starting at just $35 per month. We have plans that cater to agents of all levels of production. As Allison James continues to grow, we will be providing more of these free tools to help you grow your business. Allison James Estates and Homes is ranked among RealTrend top 30 independent brokers in America. We currently have over 1,100 agents and are growing every day. I just want to say thank you to all of the outside agents who have joined us today. We feel that training should be free, and we welcome you to join any of our upcoming webinars or live events. If you would like more information about Allison James Estates and Homes, feel free to contact Alicia Aratari in our National Growth and Development Department at 941-677-2544 or by email at joinus@ajicorporate.com. With that being said, I would like to now pass it back over to Stephanie.
Fantastic, Sheena. Thank you so much. And welcome again. My name is Stephanie White, and I'll be your presenter today. We're going to be discussing how to build a successful buyer's tour, and we're going to cover some things that those of you who may have been on an RPR webinar, you might have already seen some of these, but we're going to come at it from a different angle. So first, we usually like to start off just with an overview of what RPR is. And by the way, before I get too deep into it, on the right hand of your screen, you have your toolbar for the WebEx program. If you have a question while I'm presenting, just go in the chat box and type that question in for me. I will periodically pop over there, and certainly by the time we end the presentation, I will make sure that I've covered every question that comes in. So if I'm covering something or you want me to go back and revisit a topic, just type that in the chat box, and I'll be happy to make sure that I get all of the answers for you before we wrap up the call today. RPR is a wholly owned subsidiary of the National Association of Realtors. It's a national database, and currently there are over 166 million parcels in the database, and that's all over the United States. These are pulled from your public records database, and most MLSs also provide a feed to RPR. It is exclusive for Realtor members, so your access to it, your golden ticket to get into RPR is your NERDS ID. Hopefully you all know that you're NERDS, National Realtor Database System, and once you type that in, you'll be able to easily set up your account if anyone on the call today has not yet done that. The platform is constantly evolving. They have enhancements that come out almost monthly, but certainly quarterly, and as you build your profile, go into the profile tab for those of you who already have your account, there's a section where you can check to get the newsletters, the electronic newsletters, and I highly recommend you do that. You're not going to get a bunch of spam. You'll get a monthly electronic newsletter that will go over some of the additions or enhancements that have been added, and sometimes they're really nifty features that just help you provide a better search function or feature for your buyers, and today I'm going to show you one of the newer tools that I'm a big fan of. There is no additional cost for you to use RPR. It is subsidized by dues dollars that you already pay to the National Association of Realtors. So NAR subsidizes RPR and just voted last year to the tune of $12 million to continue subsidizing RPR to move forward with the AMP and Upstream platforms as well. There's no consumer access or public access. There's not a public-facing portal to this. It's strictly for your use, but you do have the ability to pull robust, fantastic reports out of it and also email information out of it to your customer or client as well. So just a brief overview of the difference between the AVM and the RVM. The AVM has been around literally for decades. One of the first adopters of the AVM concept was Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. They wanted an easy way to get an estimation of the value of their loan portfolios. Well, it has changed a lot over the years, and probably the most robust user of the AVM currently is our frenemy, Zillow. We love to hate them and hate to love them. But they have perfected the AVM to use really more as an advertising and marketing tool to put eyeballs on their website. It can be very inaccurate. Most of you have probably felt that frustration and seen that in working with clients who are going to these other public-facing websites. Mostly because the AVM is like looking in a rearview mirror. You only have a portion of the whole big picture. It's typically only public records. So when you're not pulling the most accurate information from the most accurate source, which is your MLS, then you're just not going to have the best picture of the value of a property. RPR has trademarked the RVM, which is the realtor valuation model. And what this does is it blends your MLS data with your public records data, giving you the most accurate snapshot of value that's available anywhere. So today, what we're going to cover is preparing for the buyer's tour, talking to the buyers, gathering the information. We'll look at several different ways that you can search on the platform, and that will obviously depend a little bit on the hot button items that your specific buyer has, and I'll show you a little bit of example on that when we get there. I'm going to help you refine the search using the advanced search tools. Then we'll look at a neighborhood report. I'll show you how to create it, how to customize it, and then I have a sample pulled open to show you and scroll through on that. We're also going to talk about when you're showing properties, some conversation points that you can have and how to use the mobile app to answer questions and enhance the experience for them, and even look up properties that maybe weren't on your original list, but you can easily access them through the mobile app while you're out in the field. And with that mobile app, we'll also show you how to take notes or add pictures of the specific properties that will attach right to it for ease of use. And then what that will do is allow you to do a mini report that you can send right to those buyers. Say they've narrowed it down to their top 5 or top 3, then you can do all of this from the mobile app right out in the field, and when they get back home and they're chatting about which houses they like best and trying to remember which one had the blue shag carpet or the flowery wallpaper, they can pull up these mini reports and have all of the information right at their fingertips. It's a great customer service tool that will really position you as the realtor who provides the best service available. And then lastly, I'm going to go over how to use the quick CMA, which will help you give your buyers an idea of what kind of offer price would be appropriate for the property that they ultimately decide on. So with that, let's jump into the live platform. And you can see I have it pulled up here with your logo. And again, thank you, Allison James, Estates and Homes. We do appreciate the opportunity to present to your agents today. On the home page, you have a search box right here in the top center. And what we're going to do is operate under the scenario that you've gotten a call from a buyer. They've been looking at homes online. They're ready to start physically looking at homes, and they're giving you a list of their criteria. That's a great call to get. So you want to do some research, and obviously you'll use your MLS for some of this, but there are some features and tools that are available through the RPR website and app that I think you'll find will be very helpful and beneficial as you transition from creating a showing schedule to actually showing properties out in the field. One of the first things that you're going to do is make sure that you're under for sale. This is going to make sure that the homes that we're targeting are going to be listed properties that are available for sale. You can see you have several other categories up here, and those can be featured in different webinar modules that we have available. Today we're going to focus on finding that home for the buyers. So I've done a little bit of preparation and created some history on the site from your home office area, which is Carlsbad, California. We've got pretty high prices out there. It looks like a beautiful area. So I'm going to use the zip code that I have in Carlsbad. And you can see as I type the zip code, it's going to pull specific properties that I've already saved, and then it'll also pull the area or the zip code for that area. I'm going to select that, and then I come down to my price range, and because of the research I did, I know to get the largest number of houses, I'm going to need to go up fairly high, and I'm going to use a broader range than you would normally use with a buyer. I know you're not going to search from 900,000 to 5 million with most buyers, but we want to pull a nice big number of properties to look at in our list. The more you narrow down the criteria, y'all know, the less homes you have to view, so you may have to come back and mix and match or toggle or make adjustments with some of the criteria. I'm going to go ahead and just go with a 3-bedroom with a minimum of, let's go ahead and say at least 3 bathrooms. Now I have a button here for advanced search. This is going to allow me to add some additional criteria. When I was doing the overview, I referenced one of the enhancements that I'm a big fan of, and that is the keyword search. I personally am going to want to pool with my home. So let's go ahead and add that keyword pool, and now what will happen is that will be part of our search criteria, and if we are only looking for homes with a pool, it will help us only pull homes with a pool. Now I can also come down and say, I really don't want to get into pending houses if I don't have to. I'd rather keep it with just straight up active listings. You can always go back and refine your criteria later. And maybe we don't want to deal with any foreclosure or bank-owned homes. And oh, by the way, we did want at least 2,000 square feet. The last one that I'll make an adjustment on is I'm going to go ahead and focus on single family or condo only. We don't want to mess with any multifamily, and I doubt that there are any mobile homes in Carlsbad, but you never know. Just in case, we're going to keep that unchecked. Now you do have the ability to highlight your own listings. You can also show only homes that have photos, a couple of other variables that you can use. Once you've got your criteria built, then we're going to come up and hit the search button. This is going to bring us results on the criteria that we listed of what is available that meets or matches that. Now I've opened up to my big map view. I'm going to toggle over to the list view first, and you can see this only pulled 4 properties. So if I wanted to broaden that a little bit, maybe I'm okay with a community pool or the fact that it's close to the ocean, I can make that modification here and then hit apply. And what it will do is resort based on the new number. So you can see now instead of only 4 properties to choose from, I actually have 23. So you don't have to go back to the home page to make an adjustment on the criteria for your search. You can do that right here in this left-hand column. And all of the advanced features that we looked at previously are listed here. So the only thing to remember for sure is once you've made that modification, make sure you hit the apply button, and that's what's going to resort your results. Now I'm going to go back to a bigger map, and we're going to look at some of the mapping features that will help you narrow down your criteria or do more advanced searching based on what those hot button items might be for your client that you're working with. One of the really cool features that I'm a fan of as well are the heat maps. So when you're looking at your big map here, just below you can see heat maps. And I've got a pull down menu or pull up menu depending on which direction it goes. And there's about 10 options on here. So as I select an option, this one is the 12-month change and estimated home values. When I click on that, it gives me a key down here where I can see the darker the red, the more the depreciation of value has occurred. The darker the blue, the more the increase in value has occurred. And as I look at the map, you can see there are little pockets of speckled color, and this is a nice visual. Some of your buyers are going to be very visual, and they're really going to like the heat maps. Some of your buyers are going to be much more analytical, and RPR has amazing charts and graphs that are really good for them to kind of look at and analyze the detailed data. We'll look at one more heat map. Flood zones is always a handy one. These are pulled from FEMA maps. So you can see, again, I've got my key, coastal, and obviously that's going to run all the way up the coastline. And then your center section here are your different levels of risk, and you can see the shades of color do change as you follow that waterway. And then, of course, your lower risk areas are going to be in the green, and this would be very helpful. For example, this home is probably going to require flood insurance. This one is probably not. May or may not be a variable for your buyer, but it is something that they don't always think about. So anticipating what their needs are is a big part of excellent customer service. So I'm going to clear out the heat maps now, and you simply hit none. That's going to bring us back to a normal map, a normal view of the map. Now, as I go up to the top section, I have several search capabilities. I can draw, box, radius, polygons, but this is a really nifty feature, drive time. When I click on this, it's pulled a box here where I have the ability to enter an address. If I don't know the address, but I know roughly where the landmark is that I want to be, then I can simply come down and do a pin drop in that location. Either one will work. So a lot of times you'll have a buyer that'll say to you, I need to be within 15 minutes of my daughter's school. I need to be within 20 minutes of work from wherever we buy. And this will allow you to select whether it's a car or maybe they want to walk, what time of the day, let's say, pardon me, we'll stick with the 8 a.m. Monday, and then of course the length of journey, you can go anywhere from 5 minutes to 2 hours as a commute time. So once I hit apply, this is going to come in and give me an outline of where I can search, and anywhere a home is located within this radius is going to be within a 15-minute drive time based on traffic patterns at 8 a.m. on Monday mornings. I just love this feature because it's not distance. You know, a lot of times you can only be 3 miles from something, but it takes you 3 hours to get there because the traffic is so incredibly bad. And other times, as we are looking here, you have a pretty broad range of where you could live and still be within about a 15-minute drive time, again, based on traffic of where this pin has been dropped. Now, if I want to search here, it's going to keep in mind my pre-existing search criteria, but I just click in that box and then select search in this area. And what this is going to do now, if I go back, or I can just scroll down, by the way, and my list view is just below. Now I have 101 properties available because I broadened from my original zip code to the drive time search area. If you like this, maybe I want to revisit this, then I can simply come up here and hit the Save button, and it's automatically saved in my saved list. It's as simple as that. Now, if I want to be a little more specific, I can rename this. I can call it Drive Time from, let's say, John's school. So if I've got little Johnny going to school at that location where the pin was dropped, and I want the drive time from that location, now I've gotten a super specific search, and I can go and pull that at any time. And each time I re-pull this search from my home page, it's going to pull the new homes that meet that criteria, so you'll get a refreshed or an updated search list. So maybe the first time you go out, they don't find what they like. You've created your search criteria, and then, as I said, you can revisit that at any time. So if you're just playing around a little bit and you don't want to be stuck with this search, you simply hit Reset Map, and you're back at square one. Another feature that, there are actually a couple of other features, are under the Geographics pull-down tab. So when I open this, at the distance I'm looking at the map on from now, I have limited options. But if I zoom in on the map, then I can do my pull-down, and you see I now have neighborhoods as well as grades of schools. So if I select 9th through 12th grade, you see lines being drawn across the map. If I click on that, it's telling me this is Carlsbad High School, and I can come up here and create a market activity report, or I could perform a search in this new geography, and it would give me a new set of results just like the drive time one did. I'm going to reset that map, and let's come back and look at our neighborhoods. Same thing. You'll start seeing lines drawn over the map, and then you can just click in an area, and it's going to tell me this is Carlsbad. So now I have three options. I can create a market activity report, and that's sort of like a real estate report card. It tells you all the active, for sale, pending, expired, and sold listings in an area over a certain given period of time. Great tool for listings. The neighborhood report is excellent for buyers. This gives them demographics, Chamber of Commerce kind of information. It's not a terribly lengthy report, so we're going to come back to that in just a quick moment. And then you can, just as we did before, do a search in this geography. Now before we go in and jump to the Reports tab and go over how to customize and pull that report, I wanted to show you just a couple of other things. If I want to save one of these specific properties, I can click on that property, and then all I have to do is select and click on the star, and it's automatically saved in my saved list. It's really that simple. If I want more information about this specific property, then I hit More Details, and this is going to take me to the Detail Summary page. This is probably the page that has the most information about any given property. You can see it has your photos, it has the agent contact, the school, the MLS information, as well as the public information, side-by-side and comparisons. You have interior features, exterior, as I said, school district, legal description, mortgage records. It's robust, and there is a lot of information that can be found in this particular section. So if I hadn't already saved this property, then I could just click the star here. But since I've already saved it, the star is golden, so it is indicating that this is one I've already saved as a preferred property. But I could come in and rename this if I wanted to. So we're going to go back to the results now, and we've looked at how to save a property, both from the property itself or from the detail summary of the property. We've looked at the bigger map and some of the geographies and features of how to refine searches on that. And then we've also looked at our list view and how to make modifications if we don't have the results that we want. So now what I'm going to do is come back into my geographies, pull up a neighborhood, and we're going to look at how to pull the neighborhood report and how to customize it a little bit. And then I'm going to show you a sample of that report. There we go. All right, so as I said, you've got these options up here, and we're going to select Create Neighborhood Report. And you may notice that it's taken me automatically to the Reports tab at the top. When I come down here, it's already defaulted at the Neighborhood Report because that's what I selected. Now, I always like to make sure that I've got all the elements on my cover page selected. I prefer to put all of that information on the cover. And then I also recommend that you show your page numbers. That makes it easier to look over remotely. If you're working with a specific person, you can be super creative and call it Bob Buyer. And then you can put a customization or a little note, great property, and it's really creative. Now you have the ability to choose whether you want to generate the report as a PDF, which can be saved, it can be printed, or you can email it directly to your customer, and we'll CC you as long as you leave that checked. But before we do that, I want to show you, first of all, here's how to look at a brief, small sample of the report. And I've got a larger one I'm going to open up and show you. But when you open the small sample, it shows you how many pages the report is, and you can scroll through more quickly and have an idea of what's covered within that report before you pull it. Now, if you want to do some customization on any of the reports, you just click on More Detail. The neighborhood report is a brief report already, so there's not a lot of customization that you're going to do, but when you get into a seller's report that's 73 pages long, you're probably going to want to trim that down a little bit and make it a little bit more what you want to focus on for the seller that you're going to be presenting that to. But with this one, you do have the ability, if you wanted to exclude any of those features, and the little blue information icon, anytime you hover over that, it's going to show you what that means. So in other words, here where it says Housing Stats and Charts, it's just showing me which pages that is, so I can be sure if I want to exclude that or not. Now in this case, we're not going to because it's a 10-page report as it is, which is pretty brief. Now I'm going to go ahead and click Run Report, and I get a little pop-up. I can take that down or it'll go away. And as it's generating, you'll see it's golden. The key tells me that that means that report is pending, and I've already got 2 that I pulled prior to our class. On this tab, this is what the report will look like. You can see it's got your company name, got your photo if you've uploaded it, prepared for a Bob buyer, and buy this house. As I scroll through it, the neighborhood housing stats and charts are really nice because it will take the micro neighborhood that you're looking in, compare it to the neighborhood, then to the county, then to the entire state, and then to the entire United States. And it has quite a few categories, including median estimation of home values, age, owner to renter ratios. These are all pieces of information that buyers really enjoy and will find value in. Your neighborhood report in a chart and graph. And then this gives you a little bit of information about the people who live there. What is the population density? How many people have a high school degree or a 2-year degree, etc. And of course, for my single people, what's the male to female ratio? We have children, households with children, income brackets, and even presidential voting patterns. This is getting into more of the economic statistics. What's the per capita income, household income, and occupational categories. That breaks it down by numerical values in the chart. And then the last section that you get into is a little more, like I said before, Chamber of Commerce oriented. It talks about the elevation, rainfall, snowfall, water qualities, average commute times, and even your walkability scores. This is fairly new, but it is something that we're seeing people start to ask about a little bit, and more people want to live in an area where they can walk to work or at least bicycle to work, and also have restaurants or bars or convenience stores or even grocery stores that are going to be convenient to where they live. So this walkability score is just an extra boost or something that you can provide to your potential buyers. Now let's jump back onto our main search page, and from here what I'm going to do is shift gears briefly and take us back to the PowerPoint to go over the mobile app. Now the mobile app is available both on iPhones and Android phones. You just go into your iTunes library or your Google Play and look for RPR Mobile. It's as simple as that. And it will also work on your tablets. You can download it, and the tablet version is slightly different than the mobile version. When you get into the mobile app, and you do want to have created your login and your profile on the desktop first, because when you open the app, it's going to ask you to log in. You have 3 homepage options to choose when the app opens for it to open on. Your first one that you see on the screen here allows you to go into more of an advanced search or a specific search, kind of like the toolbar that we had on the homepage we were at previously. The middle one is an overview, and if you look at the top, it says within a half a mile of me, and you can customize that in the settings of the app. You can broaden that out, I think, up to 5 miles, but in half-mile increments. And it's going to show you, based on where you're standing, what properties are for sale, what are new listings, etc. So this is particularly helpful if you are out showing property. You know, inevitably the buyer's like, why aren't we looking at that house across the street? And of course it's $1 million more than the other one. But you've got that right on your app. So you just open the app up, tap on that, and not only will it show you the listed properties, but it'll show you the assessed value of the off-market property. And I'm going to show you that in one of the slides that's about to come up. And then the last one is kind of an overview of the market, sort of like what we looked at in the neighborhood report a minute ago. To select the home page that you want your app to open to, you simply click on the little house icon in the top right corner, hold it down for about 3 seconds, and it will turn golden. And that way, that will be the home page that will launch when you turn the app on, but you can still access the other home pages by simply swiping left with your finger on the screen. So now that we've selected this as our home page, we can tap on the for sale properties, and then it will open up a map, kind of like what we were looking at before, but it's obviously smaller because it's on your phone. These are color-coded based on their status, so you've got active listings, you've got distressed properties, you've got pending, and if I want to zoom in, I simply squeeze out like you do with any other function on your phone, and that zooms in, so I have this aerial view of the homes. Now, the home that's circled, that's blue, so that's an active for sale listing, and when I tap on that, it opens a banner at the bottom, so I can just tap on it one more time, and that's going to open up a detailed summary page on the app with all, remember all that information we saw in the desktop version before? That is all available within the app. But before I do that, just look around and you can see the little gray dots. Those are off-market properties. So each one of the numerical values that's assigned to that is indicated by the tax assessed or property appraiser assessed amount of or value of that property. Your color coding is going to, as I said before, determine the status of the property. So you may have an off-market, you may have, up there you've got a active distressed property, the one with the red dot. So we'll tap on that one more time, and now it's opened up to the detail summary page. The photos will come up in a 4-up format, and then you can just swipe to the left and it'll scroll through the photos for you. But if you want to look at the photo a little bit larger, then you tap on the rectangle here, and it's going to bring them up into more of a single view. The app is also intuitive, so if you turn your phone sideways, then it's going to automatically go into a slideshow format where you can just use your finger to swipe through all of the photos. Pardon me. And then when you turn your phone back upright, it intuitively will go back to the same format with your detail summary information listed below. So as you scroll down the detail summary, it's going to take you to quite a few options. We're just going to pull out a couple of specific features today. Looks like I've got a question that's popped in, so this is a good time. Please show how to have the neighborhood pics show. Mine is not showing all properties in gray. Let's see how to have the neighborhood pics show. All right, Melissa, if you're talking about on the app, the neighborhood pics, zoom in, try zooming in. I think if you're talking about the overview look where I was looking at the neighborhood pricing in the pictures, I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, okay. If you zoom in, it should give you a view above. Now, we do have 11 states in the country, and depending on which state you're in, some of them are considered what we call non-disclosure states. And that means that they do not publicly make available the property assessed value. So I don't have all those dates memorized, but Melissa, if you're not getting the assessed value on the app, even when you zoom in, it may be that you're in a non-disclosure state. So that would be one thing that you might want to look at. All right, let's jump back and look at this app. I've scrolled down. This is probably about halfway through. And once you get there, you see that you've got find nearby properties for sale, super helpful, and then find nearby comps. So if you're looking in a neighborhood, maybe you've picked a broad area to start showing, and then you get to one neighborhood and the buyers say, wow, you know, we really like the features here, we like the school zone. So finding nearby properties for sale is a really nifty tool, because right there out in the field you can open up a whole new search, and on the app it also pulls through the listing agent's contact information, the showing instructions. There's even a call listing agent button, so you can actually just push that button and it'll call the listing agent right away, and if they're available or answer the phone, then you can potentially go ahead and schedule a showing or at least get some information about that property. As I scroll further down, you see on the bottom you kind of got these accordion style open up sections. So we saw these when I did a brief scroll through on the desktop. You've got prior sales transactions. If the school zones are available in your area, then you can pull the school zones. You can also search by schools, as we looked at before. Interior features, which you saw in the desktop version, exterior, and then of course lastly tax information. Now, each time you scroll, you get a little bar at the bottom that has reports and notes, and there's your call agent button as well. I think this slide's a little older, so I think it's now a circle that you hit, but it still essentially has the same information. On the Notes tab, you have 3 options once you go in there. You can add a note, and that will open up the text box where you can just type in a note like you would send a text on your phone screen. You also have add a memo. That's a voice memo. So if you don't want to text while you're walking down the stairs and risk tripping over something, you can open up the voice memo and speak into that. And then this is where you can also add a photo. And remember, each of these functions will attach themselves to that property that you're going into. So if I'm in this property in Las Vegas here, then once I open up these features and take a couple of photos, maybe there's an area of concern in the house. Maybe we see a water stain. Then I can take those pictures and it's going to attach itself to that house within my RPR platform. So this isn't getting redistributed out to anybody else to see in RPR or any public records, but this helps you kind of have a recollection of what you saw when you were going through the house, and it will also pull through on reports that you might pull for your buyers. Now, speaking of reports, when you're working with buyers, and I referenced this in the beginning of the class, a lot of times, you know, they get confused. They're looking at a lot of houses and they forget which one has what feature. So the mini report is a really nice touch of something to send to them to help them remember what it is they looked at, what the pricing was, just the whole big picture of what was going on in that market. So on the app, you can hit Add a Report, and it's going to give you a pull-down menu of the reports that are available. And you may recall when we were on the desktop report section, these were the same reports as well. Now, I'm not going through each and every step. This is more of an overview of what the app provides to you, and we do have a whole class available that's about 40 minutes long that goes over how to use the app, how it compares to the desktop, and how you can also use the tablet. So today we're just kind of giving you an idea of what it can do, and then we'll be happy to schedule the app class at another time if that is something that you want. So let's say in this case we're going to go with that mini report. We've shown these buyers 20 houses, and they're kind of starting to narrow it down to the top 3 or 5. So the mini report is kind of an abbreviated property report, just has fewer pages, but it has enough of an overview, including pictures, for them to be able to distinguish which house was which. So once we select that report, we can determine whether we want to download it or email it straight to them. We just simply add their email address and then hit Get Report. That report will generate, and it will automatically email them, and as long as you kept that box checked, it should email a report to you as well. And once we've performed this function, we can either hit the Home button, and that's going to take us back to the home page of the app, or if we're not quite done with that house, we can click the Back button, and it'll take it back into that property. So just to kind of recap what we've covered with the app, you have the ability to search, and there are details and tools within the app where you can look at any property, whether it's on or off market. And of course, Melissa, unless you're in an area that's a non-disclosure state, then your off-market properties, you're going to have a lot more limited viewing ability. You can look at the market conditions. It's going to give you nice overviews and charts and graphs. Look at tax assessment information. All of that is available on the app. You can send the reports that will be branded with your information that you've set up in your profile, and then you can store save properties from the app as well. And by the way, everything syncs automatically. So whatever you do on the app, if you come back to the office and open up your desktop version, it will all be there for you on the bigger screen, a little bit easier for me to see. So you have the ability to take the photos, add them to the listings, and even call the listing agent directly from one touch. Let's jump back to the live platform one more time before we wrap up. And I wanted to go over a quick, simple CMA. So I'm going to jump back to the home page. And let's say we've hit the point now where the buyers have finally narrowed it down and they're ready to write that offer. So I've selected Oak Avenue. I'm just going to pull that straight up here. And you can see that I have us on the detail summary page now. If we look at Refined Value tab, and I think, yeah, let me restore the original. My apologies, I was playing around with that. So when you come to the Refined Value tab, this is not the CMA yet. What we're doing here is simply looking at the property and the condition of the property itself and seeing if there are any refinements just based on its condition. At this point, we're not comparing it to any other properties. So let's say we have a slight adjustment of the square footage. Let's say it's 4,200, not 4,229. When I hit Apply Changes, it's going to make that financial adjustment for me. I also I'm a fan of this feature. This is a partnership with a company called Hanley Woods, and they provide data to the National Remodel magazine. And what they've done is they've mapped some specific home improvements. Now, everything is not here, but there's quite a few. And if we want to choose, let's say they're going to do an upscale major kitchen remodel. And let's say they did it, oh, I don't know, a couple of years ago, and the total cost was $40,000. These are multi-million-dollar houses, million-dollar houses, so that's not unreasonable. Now, when I hit Add, it shows me the return on that investment. You can see it's dropped down to 27 and some change. What that is taking into consideration is, first of all, what was the remodel? We know you get a better return on kitchen and bath, but you're still not going to get dollar for dollar. Then how much did the original one cost? And how long ago was that done? You know, sometimes you'll go into a listing appointment, or you'll be showing a house with a buyer and it'll say, you know, remodeled kitchen, and you get in there and it's like, well, was this remodeled in 1990? Because it's still got a lot of dated stuff going on. So that can be a little bit subjective, so this clarifies it. You can also add if you think there's an improvement needed, and then below the bottom is slide bars. So let's say your local market conditions are hot, and the exterior of the home is pretty good. It had a little fresh paint, some spray wash, but when we walked inside, it smelled like a big wet dog. So y'all know the smell, that's a big turnoff. I mean, buyers, that's one of the fastest things that will get them out of a property, is if they walk in there and smell a pet odor, smoke odor, and sometimes even really distinctive food odors can be something that a buyer will just reject the home altogether because they are sensitive to that. So you can just move your slide bars back and forth based on what you see with that property, and you can see it gives me a total adjustment here in the refinements. Now from here, I'm going to jump over to the CMA. I'm going to perform the quick, simple CMA, and then I'm going to show you a sample of a seller's report that has some of the results in it, just so you can see how it lays out in the report. After that, I'll be wrapping up today's presentation, so if you do have any additional questions, go ahead and type those in. We'll probably got about 5 to 7 more minutes. So this simple CMA is the top one, the comparative analysis. And the first step in this is to confirm the facts. So remember in the refinement, I put 4,200 square feet in. It's carried that forward and highlighted it so that I can see what modifications I made. We can also see that the public records are showing a different number of bedrooms than the listing data. So let's go ahead and say we know that it's 5 bedrooms. We've previewed the house. Now we'll confirm our facts of the property and close that out. The next step is to find comps. You can add a specific property. So maybe there is a home around the corner that you know about that was in MLS. You can put the MLS ID in there and pull that into your CMA. But even more interesting, maybe there's a home around the corner that you know that sold, but it was not in MLS. You can still, assuming you're not a non-disclosure state, put the property address in the bar here, and it's going to pull the sold information from the public records so that you can use an off-market property in your CMA. So just imagine that's really going to position you as a market expert. You're not just pulling straight from the MLS, you're going above and beyond to get them a nice comprehensive idea of what's going on in that market. Then you can toggle back down to do your regular search where you've got, you know, just your basic criteria. I'll tell you what I typically do is hit the search button, see what results I get, and then I can come back up here and hit modify search if I don't get enough. But you can see I've got 14 here. That's going to be plenty for you to choose from. I love the map. You have color coding so I can see the proximity. My golden is always my subject property, and then each of the others based on recently sold, for sale, pending, etc. So I've got 14 sold properties to choose from. Remember, my subject is going to stay at the top. We've got an amount of about $2.5 million, 4,200 square feet, 5-bedroom, 4-bath, built in '83. Just some overview criteria. Now, I'm not going to get super specific, so know that my CMA is not going to be exact and to the money. I'm demonstrating more of how to use the platform than how to do an actual CMA in theory. You may notice that there's a couple of blue stars here, And what that means is that those were comps that were used in calculating the RVM. We talked about that at the very beginning of the presentation, the Realtor Valuation Model. So it doesn't mean you have to use it, doesn't mean you can't use it, it's just for your information. But usually it means it's a fairly good comp. It looks like we are dealing with fairly similar sizes, although this year built is way off. Remember, our other one was built in the 80s. So we might want to make an adjustment for that, but we'll go ahead and throw it in our comp field. And these are all showing year built 2016, so I'm not sure if that's accurate, if there may be a flaw in there. We'll have to look into that. But I've got another one here. This is 4,300 square feet. We'll go ahead and add that, and there's another 4,300. So I'm just kind of randomly choosing a few. Some of these look pretty similar. So I can add as many of these as I want, and then I can remove back and forth if I want to as well. Maybe I pulled one in that I decided not so much of a good comp. But once I've got what I want, it's going to give me a range just based on the average estimate of the comps that I've selected. Then I'm going to hit Update Valuation and Close. It's going to take me to my next step, which is where I make my adjustments. Now it's going to pull these up in a column format. You're probably familiar with that kind of view for a CMA. This is super, super simple. I'm looking at my subject property, and then with each comp, the question that you're going to ask yourself is this comp better or worse than the subject? So just strictly based on the fact that this is a lower price per square foot, I'm going to bump it down a little bit. And you can see that it makes the financial adjustment for you. This one is higher. I'm going to bump it up. And then this one, again, is slightly lower. And there's a lot more variables. Again, you're going to do more analysis than I am, but I'm just giving you an idea. With the simple CMA, there are no other adjustments. Now, the detailed comprehensive analysis, you can go in and do line-by-line adjustments if that's your preference. So you do have the ability to do that in RPR, but sometimes you know the market, you know the area, you have an idea of where you're going to land, and you just need a nice, pretty report to send them, and this is perfect for that. You can add notes like smelled like a big wet dog or had fresh paint on the exterior, and once you finish that, you hit Update and Close. Now that brings us to our results, and a couple of things to point out here. I'm going to click my Edit button. A lot of times you may not want to come in with one singular number, like you want a range. So if I put a 0 in that top box, it's going to eliminate the singular number, giving me the ability to come up with a valuation range. And let's say our range is 1,1 to 125. There we are. Then when you hit Save, this is what will show on your report. So it does give you the ability to do a little bit of customization here at the end and present it the way you want to present it to your buyers. So now that we've done all of this, I want to just open up the seller's report before I wrap up the presentation. And you're going to see that this is a much lengthier report. It's going to give defined values, list price, estimated values, and then you can see the comp analysis. I did this comp separately from the one we just did, so I've got different values. I think this may have even been a different home. But as I scroll down, some of the main things I wanted you to see is specific to the slide bars. These are great for having conversations about specific points. And you can see, this doesn't do this on the website, but when you have the report, it shows how much each slide of the bar affected the value of the home, and then it gives you the total at the bottom. And as you scroll on further, you will get to the CMA section. Let me just get down there so we can give you an idea of how it lays out and how it looks. And in this one, here's where some of your comps are located on the map. It shows you the proximity like we looked at before. And then these are the comps, and you can see it goes ahead and gives you the description of the home and has all the same information that you saw as we were creating the CMA. In addition, it pulls each of the comps detail so that they can look at it with the pictures, the proximity on the map, and a little bit more detailed view. So let's go ahead and jump back to our PowerPoint if I don't have any questions about this, and we're going to wrap it up. There we are. So the main thing is just jump in and try it. You can't break it. Create your account, NAR, RPR.com, NAR, rpr.com. Some of your MLSs may have a single sign-on, so you're automatically logged in. And then download the app. I think you'll really like some of the features that it has available. I know many of you may have an app through your MLS as well, but you know, every product has a couple of things that it does that another one doesn't. So play around with both and see which one's going to give you the better service or the better features that you need. In case this just wasn't enough for you, you can go to the blog.narrpr.com, that's blog.narrpr.com, and it has live training that's going to be coming up, additional webinar training, and there are also multiple videos on demand, and some of them are nice short quick clips. Maybe it's a specific feature you're wanting more information about, and some of them are more lengthy, but it has a lot of great information on that website. You do have 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week support, which is phenomenal. So even if you're one of those people that come home and it's midnight before you like to play around with stuff like this, you can open up a chat from the RPR platform and somebody will jump on there and help you out. At the bottom of every single page of the website, there are links both with the toll-free number that you see on your screen now and also a live chat button where you can open up a chat. Again, just to emphasize, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So with that, again, my name is Stephanie White, and Allison James Estates and Homes. I just thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to present this feature of RPR to you, and we look forward to the next time. It looks like I had one more question pop in. Oh, thank you, Letizia. This webinar is going to be available. I have recorded it, and I'm going to get that over to Sheena, who will make it available to you so that you can access it again. And then there are similar video recordings like this on that blog website as well. So hopefully that answered your question. And with that, I don't see any additional questions. So I thank you again so much. Y'all have a great day and go out and sell something.